Hello there, and welcome to the second episode of the Hiroto podcast series, where I really just take some time to discuss different topics across Africa, which to me is very interesting to see some kind of different things that are happening on our planet. And so today's video focuses on one of my personal favorites. What is the first thing you think of when hearing Somalia? Is it bombings, kidnappings, humanitarian crisis, civil war? While not far from the truth, there are upsides to Somalia as well. The government is getting slightly more stable, and humanitarian aid workers are in Somalia working round the clock assisting people in need. But what if I told you that there is a pretty much independent country within Somalia, free of war and crisis, and shows the hope and strength of the nation? Welcome to Somaliland. Okay, so Somaliland is located in the Horn of Africa, along the southern coast of the Gulf of Aden, which is to the north right here. It is bordered by Djibouti to the west, Ethiopia to the south and the southwest. So, as you can see in the image, Ethiopia is right here, it's to the west. The Gulf of Aden is to the north, and the Puntland region of Somalia to the east. The thing that is so special about Somaliland is that it declared its independence from Somalia in 1991 after the fall of the government. Although it has its own functioning government, military, and currency, Somaliland is not actually recognized as its own nation. It's not internationally recognized as its own nation, but it operates with relative stability compared to the rest of Somalia. So you can consider Somaliland as the more peaceful counterpart or sub country within Somalia. Okay, and so moving on, the capital of Somaliland is Hargeisa. And I love spending hours exploring the city on Google Maps. I can just look at any part of the city forever. And so here I've made a little gallery of Hargeisa. The first image to the top right shows one of the largest buildings in the city, which is located right in the city center. This one right here, and this is actually the Dahabshil Bank, which is headquartered in Hargeisa. It is the main bank of Somalia and Djibouti. So Djibouti is like a country that is. Let's go back to this image. Djibouti is a country that is north of Somaliland, and the bank is between these two countries. It's the main bank of Hargeisa, and this building is located in the center of the city for a reason. It's one of the most important economic centers in Hargeisa, and this is a very busy square. As you can see, there's lots of people over here. So yes, this is a very strategically placed building, and is very important to the economy of Somaliland. This next image here shows the Suka Hargeisa, which directly translates to Hargeisa Market, and this is a part of the city center that has a lot of shops and stalls. And this area is special in particular because this place is especially crowded at night with vibrant stall workers selling goods like jewelry or secondhand devices or pretty much anything else. And you can see along this road here where there's the most amount of lights, basically there's stalls on like either side, and there's vendors who sell pretty much everything. This market becomes especially active around 6 to 7. Most of the stall workers start setting up by like 5 6 p.m. And by the time the night comes around, these markets are in full flow. And so this just really shows like an interesting touch to the culture of Hargeisa. Yeah, so this the reason why I chose this image was because it shows this kind of nightlife that occurs right there in the city center. This bottom right image is the very important plane monument in Hargeisa. It is called the Soviet era MiG 17 monument. It is a notable landmark located in the city center, which features this decommissioned fighter jet. And this plane is a relic from the time when Somaliland was a part of Somalia as one full country before it declared its independence. And it had a strong military ties with the Soviet Union. And so this plane is actually like a model of the plane that destroyed Hargeisa many years ago during the Civil War, which we will talk about right now. Because, as you may have known, Hargeisa was not actually always the peaceful and beautiful city that you see right now. Hargeisa was severely devastated during the Somali Civil War, which happened sometime in the late 1980s. And the destruction primarily took place between the late 1980s to the early 1990s when the Somali National Army was led by the president at the time. His name was Siar Bare, or Bare, and he conducted an intense military campaign. So basically, he was destroying Hargeisa because Hargeisa was fighting for independence. Somaliland was fighting for independence, and Siad was completely destroying the city of Hargeisa. And after the collapse of this regime, which happened in 1991, Hargeisa declared independence from Somalia, and Hargeisa became the focal point of reconstruction and rebuilding efforts, leading to what you see today. And so basically, this whole city center part right here that I'm showing, this was all after the reconstruction post 1991. The This image right here and this other image that I've put here shows the destruction that occurred during the war, and pretty much any part that was beyond the city center was completely destroyed in the early 1900s. And so it actually took a lot of resilience for the Somaliland people to rebuild this whole city. And there's actually a very vibrant culture in the city center. The city has recovered to a very good standpoint. And to this day, there is still a lot of crisis in Somalia, like Mogadishu, the capital. There's still a lot of kidnappings and bombings and a lot of things because the Somali civil war technically is still in full flow, even to this day. But Somaliland to the north is definitely the peaceful. It's on the side. It's pretty much its own nation, as I said before. So Somaliland is actually very peaceful. So if you're ever considering traveling to Somalia, I would actually suggest coming to Hargeisa because it's very peaceful. Everyone's very welcoming. And yeah, so that is my little introduction to Somaliland, which I'm sure many people are actually unfamiliar with it. They only think of Somalia as one full country, which is true. Somalia is officially recognized and internationally recognized as one nation. So not many people actually know that Somaliland is actually what it is, which is they pretty much are recognized as their own nation, even by the people of Somalia. And so that is where we are ending for our second episode of my podcast. I hope that was interesting, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.